Hello everyone. In this conversation, I have a very special guest, Barat Ali Batoor, TED Talk speaker, multi-award winner, professional photographer, and filmmaker. Recently, Batoor's film went on the huge screen at Nova Cinema, which covered the struggle, hardship, and suffering of people seeking asylum, especially Hazara people. So now, here I got Batoor. Batoor, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mehdi, for having me.
How is your day been so far?
Not bad. I've had a good day. I
Okay.
had a class at RMIT, and yeah, so far so good.
That's good. That's good. And by the way, I have to thank RMIT as well for providing us this space. I'm gonna go straight away to the questions. A number of people seeking asylum in Australia, and you are working with ASRC. Do we have statistics on how many people are in limbo and how many people are on TPV and chef visa?
Around 31,000 people came via sea in Australia, in 2012, 13.
Okay.
So those who were fast-tracked.
Yeah.
So they are most of them will be living on temporary protection visa or chef visa or bridging visas, or
Yeah.
some of them could be without any visa. So roughly, probably, I think around 30,000 people.
30,000. And so all these people who are on TPV and chef visa, do you know, like, do they have rights to work? Do they have rights to study or something like that in Australia?
When the government announced, or like this policy was introduced of bridging visas,
Yeah.
The people who came here to seek asylum via sea, so they were provided with bridging visa E.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them in the first couple of years in 2013, 14, and 15, part of 15, I guess, most of them, they did not have work rights, and they were only living on 89% of the dole money, which, like, the dole money itself is a very small amount of money, like the complete of it. I mean, it is hard to live on in this country. Like, that is, the amount is insufficient to make end to end. Like, it is so hard. So these people were living only on 89% of that money. Beside that, these people, they who are on bridging visas, temporary protection visas, and chef visas, they do not have the rights to study.
Okay.
If they want to study, their studies are not supported by hacks or any governmental support. So if they want to go into universities, then they have to pay fee like as an international student.
That must be quite costly because studying or getting education in Australia is quite costly.
It is indeed. It is
Yeah.
a very expensive option. I mean, like, if for someone, if they want to go, to pursue their tertiary education, it is pretty expensive, and I think very difficult for a lot of refugees if they don't have any support, or so to continue or to pursue their dreams of getting education.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching one of your TED Talk show the other night. I think you mentioned most refugees and people seeking asylum, they face a number of challenges. One of their challenges are identity and belonging. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for us?
Sure. My TED Talk, the second TED Talk, was about identity and belonging, because as a kid, when I was when I was born into a family which was driven out of Afghanistan, so I always fought or struggled for this with this crisis or this challenge, that of, like, if I do belong to the place where I was born.
Yeah.
And so there was a big question mark of my identity and
Yeah.
belonging, because in the place where I was born, always like we would see a backlash from different communities or ethnic groups in Pakistan, that the Hazaras are not from here, they should go back to Afghanistan, or like, and that was a feeling for me, like we were always thought or considered as an outsider. So so the identity and belonging has been a very big thing for me. And when I went back to Afghanistan, since I was born in Pakistan, my dialect was very different, and the way, like, so there were a lot of differences as well. So I was not surprised, like interestingly, I was not accepted by my own people, because I was considered as an outsider. So that challenge remained there as well. I mean, I do not belong to Pakistan, I do not belong to Afghanistan, then where do I belong to? It took me a long time in order to get settled in Afghanistan and to be accepted or considered, or like to integrate there. But by the time I was very close to be part of the community, and like the integration process was going well, then I had to leave again and become a refugee again once more. And then I came to Australia. So Australia was completely different world. And it's still like, though I'm a citizen here now, but it's still people of color, they have been going through a lot of challenges in Australia, because the racism unfortunately do exist in this country, and systematic racism, like, people do face, and I'm part of that, so I'm not an exemption. So I do feel the challenges there as well, like of belonging and identity, and how we can have a proper like feel or sense of belonging.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree, because I had the similar experience as yours. It was so difficult for me to process like where I belong, and it was so difficult for me to get neglected or kind of like rejected by my own people, like, because the way my tone and like my accent was, even like some of my close relative, when they came from Afghanistan to Pakistan, and then they kind of like not bullying in a way, like making fun of, like mocking my accent. I felt it that way as well, and I was like, yeah, should I say like I belong to Pakistan or like I belong to Afghanistan? And it was always difficult for me to process as well.
Yeah, that is the challenges of unfortunately, I mean, most of the children of refugees, they go through, like, they do go through this struggle and the process of like crisis of identity and belonging, which is unfortunately there.
Is there any other important challenges, like right now, the generation feeling, I mean, like the diaspora community feeling in Australia?
What type of challenges?
I mean, like in terms, like, suppose as a young refugee who knows, like,
excuse me, sorry.
I hope you are feeling better. In terms of like, suppose in here, they grown up in here and they don't know like whether they should identify as themselves Afghan, Hazara, like Australian Hazara, Australian Afghan.
I think the challenge, I mean, this challenge is there. First of all, like being born or growing up in a family that have migrated from, like, let's say, countries like Afghanistan or Pakistan or those countries. The challenges are there, and it takes time. I mean, like, they are in between, like, the Eastern culture and Western culture, and like, especially for girls and also as well as the boys, it is a challenge. Where do they stand?
Yeah.
And also the big question mark within the Hazara community is like, are they Afghan or are they Hazara? Or like, this is also like a big issue, because if you don't know the history, then you might be okay, so Afghan might be, you might be normalized with that, but the Afghan itself is a suppressive or oppressive term for other ethnic groups, which I think the parents and the elders should teach their younger generation or educate them to properly know about the history, and should not accept the
fake identities
and which is imposed one.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's move a little bit more towards refugee situation in Australia. Do you think in the past 10 years the refugee situation got better, worse, or like even worse?
I think in the last, especially under the Liberal government in the past 9 years, the refugee issues or situation has been extremely gotten worse,
Yeah.
and the policies which have been implemented or introduced have been so draconian and so cruel
Mhm.
to like they were all aimed in to deter and to punish people seeking asylum and refugees, which we see in the policies which have been implemented. For instance, the mandatory detention, like we saw like the cases of like people who were detained for 9 years or 10 years. They came as unaccompanied minors,
Yeah.
and they grew up in detention centers. So there are some of the examples, and also like the punishment was to the extreme or to the level that a lot of people in the last couple of years we have witnessed that they have taken their own lives. And also the family separation was one of the big issues that a lot of these people, they have been separated from their families for almost a decade, and people there like couldn't meet their children, like when they had to flee their country, their like wives were pregnant, or like they had 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months like old babies, or like very young kids. And those kids, they grew up without having the love of their fathers.
Mm.
And like the father, they spend all those years in separation from seeing their kids being grown up, and like going to the first day of their schools, and like when they start talking and they learning things, and like missing all those precious opportunities which are not going to come back. And these are the because of those policies that have been implemented to punish these people. So definitely 1000% it is gotten
It's
worse.
gotten worse. And how optimistic you are right now? We are at the age of election. How optimistic you are, like in the future government, like where the policies going to be? Is it going to be the same policies, like yeah, or is it going to be very different, very humanized for refugees?
I think that is a different two different scenarios.
Yeah,
Like for instance, if it is again the Liberal government coming into power, so probably it will be the same.
nothing going to change.
Nothing is going to change, or maybe it might get even worse.
Oh my God.
So that is the point, because they are trying to uh, like make policies more strict and strict every day, and
Mm.
like so introduce different tough policies. But the second scenario is if Labour government wins, Labour Party, if they form the government, then they are a bit better than the Liberals. So like what we saw during the election campaign, so Anthony Albanese said like they support the end of temporary protection visas.
Yeah.
So like they will provide permanent protection to all those who are on TPVs or SHEV, which is a very good sign. But they still support mandatory detention
Detention.
center,
Yeah.
and they also support the offshore processing, and
Mm.
they also I mean like these are the things that and both turn back in like politicizing the very humanitarian issue. So they are almost not too far from the like Liberals, only a bit better. But the third scenario would be if like independents and like minor parties like Greens, like they come into power, and they like they have like they are part of the government, and they can influence, like if the Labor wins, makes the government with the support of Greens and some independents,
Mhm.
then that way probably we can hope that the refugee policies in Australia can get better, and will be more humanized, a bit more humanized,
Mm.
less politicized.
Okay, so I really like. I will go with the positive optimism, as you mentioned. Like, yeah, a lot of independent and green gonna get into power and then make a coalition government with Labour. So yeah, I hope that's gonna happen. Yeah.
Oh, I hope so as well. Desperately, I really hope, because I I can't see anymore like those people suffering, because I work closely with these people and hear all these stories. They are heart-wrenching. I mean, like devastating to see these people in this situation. So I think we really need change, not only for refugee sector, but I think in a lot of other areas as well. I mean, we really need change, and that will only will come with like with the candidates or parties. They have like proper policies towards climate change, let's say, and like and Medicare and those sort of stuff. So because there are some of the key issues that needs to be highlighted.
As you said, like you've seen a lot of refugees suffer under this government, and as a refugee, I've seen most of my friends, like myself also a refugee, and like most of my friends, they are also refugee. Most of the time, as refugee, we feel very lonely, very, very lonely, because like our families are not here. Have you ever felt it that way?
Of course, family separation makes you, I mean, like it is a very traumatizing thing. Like it can have a big impact on your mental health. And I've been separated from my family, and I've applied for my family for a long time to reunite with me, but I haven't been able to reunite with them. And I can see like my old mother like going through a lot of health difficulties, or like gets injured and recently got injured. So I'm not there to help, and that is impacting me mentally a lot. That I'm not there, like especially during COVID, like there was a lot of restrictions on traveling as well. Like there was nothing you could do, and like so far away, the family separation is like makes you feel so lonely and so helpless a lot of time too.
How do you overcome those loneliness? Do you just call them or like?
Yeah, I speak almost every day or maybe twice a day
Yeah.
with my family overseas. So like can't do that without talking or speaking to them. And also beside that, I keep myself busy, work and my immediate family. I mean kids here, and also other activities that I want to be engaged with. So keep myself busy.
Yeah, busy. That's so good. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. I listened to your TED talk, and you wanted to be an actor when you were really young. Are you still pursuing that dream?
Yes, that was, I think, my dream of becoming an actor or a model, to go into a show business. Like I grew up watching Bollywood movies, so I was so fond of becoming.
Who is your favorite? Who is your
becoming
favorite
an
Bollywood
actor.
actor?
There are a couple of them. I mean, like of course, those like superstar, like kind of the glamorous ones are there. But beside that, I do admire like nice acting of I really liked Irfan Khan,
Okay.
Nasruddin Shah, and the new guy, the Kamal,
Nizamuddin
Nizamuddin
Siddiqui.
Siddiqui.
He's good.
Yeah, and like the newcomers. I mean, like of the new heroes, like those who are more into commercial type of movies, like Ranbir and Ranbir Kapoor, and who else? Like Rajkumar Rao.
Okay.
So they're some of the people that I admire their work.
Okay. Hopefully one day we're gonna see you in Bollywood movie.
I think it is too late for that, but I think I have given the hope for like or the dream of pursuing a career in acting, but never too late. I think sometimes the dream that dream comes back, but I don't think it is.
Or maybe you're
It is there,
suppressing.
so like I'm not so passionate now about it.
Oh, okay.
But if a chance comes, like definitely I will
Okay.
give it a try.
Okay, maybe the dream is coming, and then like you're like suppressing. You're like, yeah, you're not priority anymore. I'll keep you for some other time in the future.
Maybe.
Okay, that's good. What is the main purpose behind your work? Like recently, you made a documentary, and you have a lot of like photos from Afghanistan. Especially like one of your photo went viral, like made you well known to the world. What is the work? What is the main purpose behind them?
Oh, I think my stories are mostly about or around social issues.
Yeah.
So, and I do care. Like about like the things which are happening around me. And basically I'm a storyteller, so I love to tell stories, and I think of that like every issues, like how I can tell that to the world or to the audience. And I chose photography because I thought maybe I'm not good at speaking or like telling stories verbally myself or like in writing. And I chose that, oh, okay, I don't need to write with photos. But then later I found like it will require writing as well again. And like speaking, like it brought me in front of like the mics. I'm talking to you now, and I do public speaking a lot. But I think that is the main thing, that storytelling is the thing that I wanted to do all the time. And acting probably was also because of that. So unintentionally, that was the dream that I picked, because I wanted to become a storyteller.
Okay. So you got more work in the future coming in your way as well, like suppose acting, or like maybe making more documentaries, or like making more photos, pictures, or something like that.
Oh, of course, I can't sit quiet. There are like always, my mind is going on, like ideas. A lot of ideas come and go, and you never know like which one will become materialized. So there are a lot of ideas in my mind.
Yeah.
But it needs time and
do you
planning to.
Do you like sit quiet in a room and think about those ideas, or like they just can pop in out of nowhere?
Oh, it comes like when I'm talking to you, like maybe ideas will come. Okay, maybe this could be the thing that I can do, or maybe I'm on the train or driving, or like I see some person like, or people talking between themselves, and I pick some pitch from there. Like so, there's no particular way for that. Like it is just traveling and is there like.
You sound very good observer. Like you see the situation and you want to record it and put it in a picture or something like that. That's quite interesting. Let's move to the next question. So I know like you spoke about like some of the documentaries, like you said you want to build a story around them. Have you ever become so uncomfortable with any of your stories, like you working and you were like, oh, I want to stop this because it's making me really uncomfortable in any place?
Uncomfortable, I don't recall that, but the story that I was doing with the dancing boys, that was very challenging for me, because I couldn't reach them. It took me probably 6 months in order to reach them and to start the actual photography process of it. So the research part of that project was very lengthy and hard. Like each door I knocked, or each person who I thought that could help me to get to these people didn't like happen. Like nobody could help. So I was so disappointed and like frustrated that this is not going to happen. So that was probably the only project that I thought I'll give it up.
Okay. What was the dancing boy project? The idea came to yourself, or someone told you like, let's cover this, or like let's make a film or documentary about this?
It was the idea of like kind of I wanted to work on a child trafficking, but then that idea got refined, and then I felt like I landed on that part of the project, because it was part of the child trafficking, because a lot of these kids are abducted and they are like then taken to the custody by the warlords, and they are then sexually abused. So but the first idea which I proposed was very kind of broad, and then I narrowed it down and then
focused on one thing.
Focused on one thing.
Okay. So you work on that and you were not thinking like, is it gonna ended up with the bad consequences? Because like most of those boys, they are dancing for warlords, and they are like they have the full power in Afghanistan.
What I was thinking was completely different, because my fear was that I could be harmed while I was working on the project. I could get killed, or I could get harmed by those people. But luckily nothing major happened. I had some like kind of argument in between, like very minor ones, but not really very serious threats. But I was not expecting at all, after 2 years of the completion of the project, that something will escalate and things will be completely different. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's talk a little bit, if you're comfortable, about your recent film or documentary. If you're comfortable, whatever you want to share. Is it going to go live again? And are you planning to play it in different cinemas in different states in Australia? Or like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, thank you. Of course, I feel comfortable. The plan is to screen it again in Melbourne.
Okay.
And in the near future, and also we are planning to screen it in Sydney and Hobart, where the discussion is going on at the moment.
Okay.
And also I'm planning to take it to different other states, and also they're like in Warrnambool as well, like it is going to be screened. And in different other states I'm planning to take it, so almost many places as I can in Australia. And also I will plan to screen it in overseas as well, if possible. And then I will, once I'm done with the screening, then I might send it for be broadcasted on a TV channel, if any channel was interested. If not, then I'll make it available online, for people to watch it.
Okay, that's so nice of you, because like a lot of people, I bought the ticket, I missed it, the opportunity to watch it, because we had some other stuff to deal with. I'm looking forward to like watch it again. Hopefully, is it like possible this year, or like in the near future sometime, like it's going to go live again? Yeah.
Oh, it will be screened this year.
Okay, amazing. So let's talk a little bit about your documentary. What is it focusing on specifically?
Basically, it is like my story. I'm the storyteller of the film, but it also tells the stories of the Hazaras, their like challenges they face, the migration, and then what do they get through. So it is a film, basically my story. I'm the storyteller, but there are like supporting stories as well in between, like very compelling stories that in the film which tells about the challenges. So I have tried to highlight those challenges and why people flee, and what are the challenges of fleeing in that situation and what happens. So yeah, that is. I won't reveal too much. So
No,
I want your audience to come and watch it.
Don't spoil too much. Yeah, guys, the documentary is super. I think one of my friends came to the show, and by the end, she came to me. She was like, "Mehdi, you always talk about the boat people, but I never pay close attention. I watched the documentary. Now I feel how you guys going through everything. It is really like interesting." Fascinating. Go watch it. When it's going to be live, definitely in any cinema. If you are in Australia or like outside Australia, feel free to follow Batoor and see like when it's going to go live. Yeah, get the ticket and watch it. Yeah, definitely. I think that should be it. We have time for all these. I got more questions, but like that's it. The time I have so far. Hopefully in the future we're going to make it again.
Sure.
Any question I haven't asked you, or I forgot to ask you, or you want me to ask you? You want to say something, or like?
I think you have asked almost everything. So no, I don't have anything to add. But yeah, it was lovely speaking to you.
Likewise.
And thank you very much for having me in your podcast show.
Absolutely, an honor for me as well. How do people get in touch with you?
The easiest way these days are social media. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok as well a bit.
Okay.
So yeah.
On TikTok, dancing video?
No, I don't dance.
Okay, cool. Guys, follow Batoor. I'm going to leave the Twitter handle and Instagram and everything. Link the description of this video. Feel free to go and follow Batoor and see when is gonna be the next documentary gonna be go live again, and feel free to get your ticket as well. Yeah, be ready for that. Batoor, thank you so much for your time and coming to our podcast, and what an honor to talk to you and listening to your story. Yeah.
Thank you, and it has been a great pleasure to speak to you and to be on your show. Thank you for inviting me, and always lovely to talk to you, Mehdi.
Likewise, and thank you guys for listening to us until now, and make sure to follow Batoor, and we're gonna see you guys in the next episode in the next